As Canadian firearm owners, we're passionate about our hobby and lifestyle, and while it seems like we're more likely to hold an original functional FG42 in Canada than our laws lighting up, I'm going to tell you three reasons why they're not going to change yet. Number one will be the we're not American mentality. See, ever since our family grew bigger, we're pretty close to the same thing now, and we keep trying to say we're very different. It's a statement firmly rooted into our being as Canadians, and the average day for an American and Canadian is identical. When any sort of pro firearms legislation is placed on the table, regardless of the intention, it's pushed back with, but we're not American though. Let's forget a certain current leader, say we have no core identity. Our core identity is not and should not be we are not X. Number two is that there's no accountability for lying in politics. Accusing someone of lying is a serious deal, and it should go without saying that we expect all those that represent us in the government to have the knowledge needed to make informed decisions on what they're talking about. This is the part where you've either smiled, frowned, or resignedly laughed and started drowning yourself in alcohol. What I'm bringing to attention in my example is the Liberal Party's opposition to Bill C-68 when Harper was in. The ads from the Liberal Party were not just incorrect, they were extremely incorrect with the objective of getting the bill to fail. And it's difficult to say whether they were lying or if they're so far out of touch that they should be removed for trying to blindly make decisions for our country. Which one's worse? Number three is that it's easier to take than it is to give. A brief explanation of the full comic is once reasonable firearm laws constantly get pecked at by compromises, where compromise here means one side gives up something while the other side gives nothing. There were three rifles that were adopted in the late 50s to 60s known as the Big Three battle rifles. You've got the M1A or the M14, the FAL, and the G3. In Canada, we can own the M1A with a standard license, but the other two that fire the same ammunition are prohibited. There's no foreseeable outcome in the near future where the equal powered rifles of the other two, for the big three, are legal for standard license owners to buy. Why? It's because it's how it's written. Will the AR-15 ever be moved to non-restricted status, as there's no written reason for it to be restricted? No, but it's far more difficult to loosen restrictions, no matter how arbitrary they are, than it is to tighten them. It's a bit like being constricted by a snake while it's telling you that it's only acting in your best interest. We'll get there eventually, buddies. Be patient.